At exactly midnight, Jungkook posted nothing. No photo, no caption, no hashtags, just a black square. To the world, it might have looked like emptiness. But armies, we know better. Because with Jungkook, silence has never meant nothing. Silence is a language of its own. A signal, a pause before the storm. And that night, the world didn't just pause. It trembled. For years, there were whispers. Fleeting moments that refused to disappear. Two boys, Jungkook and Taehyung. Eyes that held each other too long. Laughter that came too easily. Touches that seemed too tender to be just friendship. A glance on stage, a shoulder leaned into backstage. Hands reaching out. Not for performance, but for comfort. They never spoke it, not aloud, not directly. But perhaps, that was the point. The silence said everything. Because sometimes the truest things are never shouted. They're felt, known, trusted. And army, we listened. Every stolen glance, every quiet smile, every moment between the lines. We pieced together a story the world refused to tell. But even with all our theories and hopes, nothing could have prepared us for what came next. First, the black post. Minimal, intentional, mysterious. Then, a ripple through the silence. Taehyung reposted it. Same image, same absence of caption. No words, just a square of darkness. But this time, it wasn't quiet. It was thunder. And then, the live began. The screen flickered on. Jungkook appeared. But this wasn't the Jungkook of stadiums and spotlight. This was Jungkook, raw. No makeup, no stylists, no armor. Just him, sitting in a dimly lit room, hands trembling slightly. Heart louder than his voice. He looked nervous, but not like before a concert. This was different. This was the kind of fear that comes with telling the truth. After years of pretending, he took a breath. Soft, measured, and then, he began to speak. There are things I've kept quiet. Not because I'm ashamed, but because I was afraid. His voice broke slightly, not from weakness, but from finally letting go of weight he had carried for far too long. Afraid of what the truth might break. Of who it might hurt. Of how much of me you'd stop loving. The comments section lit up in chaos. He paused, reading, smiling faintly, and then, with a steadier breath. But I realized, love shouldn't live in the shadows. Not when it's real. He looked directly at the camera. Eyes calm, vulnerable, unshaken. Taehyung and I, we've loved each other quietly, for a long time. No apology, no justification, no long explanation. Just truth. Pure, trembling, and brave. It was the moment millions around the world felt their hearts crack open. Not from heartbreak, but from witnessing someone finally set himself free. And then, without warning, Taehyung joined the live. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Because his hand reached into frame. And found Jungkook's. Their fingers laced. Gently, naturally, like it was something they'd done 1,000 times in secret. And just like that, the internet stopped breathing. Hashtag Taekook. Hashtag Jungkook you are loved. Hashtag this is love. The hashtags exploded. Millions of tweets, tears, voices rising in a wave of support. Some cried in shock, some in joy, some in long-awaited relief. But even more, simply whispered what they'd always known. I knew it. They never had to say it for me to believe. I've loved them through every silence. Because this wasn't just a confession. It was a revolution. In an industry built on silence. On perfection, illusions, and contracts. Jungkook broke a wall many thought unbreakable. He didn't just confess to loving Taehyung. He confessed to being human. To fear. To longing. To holding love close in secret. Not because it was shameful, but because it was precious. And somehow, through all that fear, He still chose truth. Hours later, BTS responded. In their own ways. In their own silence. Namjoon posted a photo of a sunset over a still ocean. No caption. Just 3 emojis. Purple heart, black heart, dove. Jin, from the military base, shared a voice note. Proud of you, little brother. Be free. HYBE uploaded a photo of their younger days. 7 boys laughing beneath blinding stage lights. His caption read, "We were built on love. Don't ever forget that." HYBE's official statement came 12 hours later. Short, direct. We respect Jungkook's truth and stand by all our artists. Love is not a scandal. It is a right. No spin. No deflection. Just support. And just like that, what once was hidden became a banner of change. Around the world, armies reacted. Not with chaos, but with quiet reverence. They painted murals of black squares blooming into color. Wrote open letters thanking Jungkook and Taehyung for their courage, for their honesty, for their love. Many wore black ribbons, not to mourn, but to honor the years both idols and fans had stayed silent. Because this wasn't just Jungkook's story. It was every hidden story. Every quiet love. Every person who had ever been afraid to live freely. His bravery became a mirror, reflecting back the faces of those who had waited, hoped, loved in shadows. And in the end, the confession wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It came wrapped in silence. In symbols. In a black square. In a hand reaching out. And somehow, that was louder than any lyric ever sung. They say the truth is heavy. That it breaks what it touches. But Jungkook showed us something else. That truth, when held gently, becomes wings. And love, when real, doesn't need a stage. It just needs space to breathe. To Jungkook and Taehyung, thank you for reminding us that silence can be sacred, that love can be quiet, and that truth is the most beautiful song of all. Black Heart.